Chapter 1. Welcome back, my queen. In the year 1337 of the Alliance stellar calendar, at the Alliance's foremost academy, Shun Zhaoyun gazed into the mirror, her complexion pale, her short black hair drenched and clinging to her forehead. She, Shun Zhaoyun, was the pioneer of mechas within the Alliance. In 1033, she led a team to assemble the first combat mecha, earning her the revered title of Mother of Mechas. After 3 centuries, she found herself reborn in the body of a first-year military academy student, also named Shun Zhaoyun. Today marked the day of the practical mecha assessment, a pivotal moment determining the fate of this body. As Shun Zhaoyun approached the entrance of the D18 training ground, she noticed a considerable crowd gathered. According to the memories of her predecessor, these were fellow first-year students and upperclassmen drawn by curiosity. Ignoring the onlookers, she weaved through the throng to the center of the training ground. There, in solitude, stood an antiquated and cumbersome dark gray mecha, its exterior marred by evident patches and worn cables visible at the joints. This was the Academy's most inferior model, a class relic humorously dubbed the Anvil. Renting this outdated mecha had depleted the entirety of her predecessor's funds to fulfill the Academy's assessment requirements. Before her, 3 evaluators stood, with the eldest among them, Instructor Li Yuntao, his hair streaked with gray and his expression stern, presiding over the assessment. His gaze towards Shun Zhaoyun was laced with blatant disdain. Shun Zhaoyun, his voice boomed through the loudspeaker. Due to your tardiness, all other candidates have completed their assessments. Given your unique circumstances, the Academy has decided to grant you one final opportunity. He gestured towards the dark gray mecha. Activated. Perform the most basic tactical movements and weapon handling, and sustain operation for 30 seconds without malfunctioning. Should you succeed, you shall pass, and your expulsion will be revoked. As his words settled, a wave of suppressed laughter rippled through the crowd. Other first-year students had already mastered piloting mechas for combat, rendering this requirement a mere formality. Yet, even this was a formidable challenge for her predecessor, as the Anvil was in such disrepair that each attempt to activate it had been akin to a disaster. Shun Zhaoyun remained motionless. Her curiosity piqued as she surveyed the Anvil. This was the state of mechas 3 centuries later. Li Yuntao's patience waned, his irritation palpable. What are you waiting for? Do you need assistance to mount it? Or have you finally come to terms with reality and chosen to withdraw? He leaned forward, his tone dripping with sarcasm. I have always said, some individuals are simply unfit to handle mechas. It is a desecration. Look at that wreck. It should have been sent to the recycling plant long ago. The Anvil stood silently in the center of the arena, its rust and damage glaring under the harsh lights, silently affirming the evaluator's judgment. Shun Zhaoyun chuckled softly, slowly lifting her gaze. Her eyes traversed the battered Anvil, then passed over the impatient faces of the evaluators, settling on a corner at the edge of the training ground. There a colossal wreck loomed, its exterior corroded and pockmarked with the scars of time. Upon closer inspection, one could discern several massive rips across its left chest, as if narrating the tale of a brutal battle long past. It was the Alliance's first-generation mecha, the Zero model. It was the very design she had meticulously sketched, the primitive mecha she had painstakingly forged through countless sleepless nights. The genesis of the Alliance's mecha legacy. 3 centuries had passed, and yet it lay abandoned here, gathering dust as a neglected relic and cautionary tale. Old friend, it seems you have not fared well either. Li Yuntao, witnessing her lack of response and apparent distraction, was infuriated, slamming his hand onto the control panel. Shun Zhaoyun, are you going to take the assessment or not? If not, leave immediately. His words were abruptly halted as he observed the black-haired girl moving, ignoring the mecha designated for her assessment and the furious shouts from the evaluators. She strode purposefully toward the immense steel wreck at the edge of the field. The sound of her footsteps echoed against the cold ground, creating a stark contrast in the suddenly hushed training ground. Where's she going? Has she given up? The Zero model wreck? What's she planning? Whispers filled the air, rife with astonishment and uncertainty. Li Yuntao stood frozen, momentarily forgetting his anger as he watched Shun Zhaoyun approach the first-generation mecha. She halted at the base of the battered metallic remains, the rusted structure towering over her, casting a shadow that enveloped her entirely. Raising her gaze, she surveyed the familiar yet scarred lines of the mecha, then extended her hand. Her fingertips brushed against the cold, rough, and corroded exterior of the armor. In that instant, buzz, across the city, no, throughout the entire planet, indeed, the entirety of the Stellar Alliance, every first-generation Zero model's central control screen flickered uncontrollably. The highest-level communication channel within the mecha was forcibly activated, transmitting a single message to every corner of the Alliance. Simultaneously, in the D18 training ground, the head of the Zero model wreck slowly bowed, partially bending forward, extending a hand. Detected ancestor authority. Highest sequence activated. Welcome back, my queen. Chapter 2. Historical anecdotes? Absolutely reliable. Within the training ground, an eerie silence prevailed. Witnessing this spectacle, everyone stood frozen in place. Li Yuntao's mouth hung agape, his expression of fury instantly crystallizing into one of astonishment and bewilderment. Beneath the dimly lit giant mecha, Shun Zhaoyun's eyes widened. Who was the imbecile that had outfitted her mecha with such juvenile effects? It bore an aesthetic reminiscent of a children's rocking horse, as if attempting to compensate for her never having experienced such a ride herself. She would rather recall her ancestor's name instead. In this moment, surrounded by so many onlookers, she could only gradually withdraw her hand. Raising her head, she gazed at the first-generation Zero model she had crafted, a barely perceptible smile tugging at the corners of her lips. As she beheld the rust-riddled mecha, her eyes sparkled with a mix of brilliance and conflict. She hesitated, contemplating whether she truly wished to proceed with the assessment. Yet, lacking funds, withdrawing would condemn her to a life of destitution in the city. At the same time, far away at the Alliance's 4th Legion base on Maidu Star, a group of new recruits were training with the first-generation Zero model mecha. Suddenly, all the mechas went haywire. The novice soldiers stared at the flickering screens, paralyzed with fear as several mechas collided in chaos. Instructor, my mecha just malfunctioned. Instructor, mine too. What do we do now? The instructor, demonstrating piloting techniques to the new recruits using his own first-generation Zero model, was equally astounded. What do you mean, what do we do? My mecha is malfunctioning too. He desperately shook the control stick, but to no avail. At that moment, all the first-generation Zero models in attendance simultaneously emitted a voice. Detected Ancestor Authority. Highest sequence activated. Welcome back, my queen. The instructor found himself utterly at a loss. Since the day he began piloting a mecha, he had never encountered a situation such as this. Could it be an enemy attack? Authority? Queen? Damn it. And yet he still had no control. Someone was seizing his mecha's command. Had the enemy successfully infiltrated the Federation's network? This was dire. He needed to urgently report this to the higher-ups. He shouted loudly, "Everyone, jump out of the mecha. Monkey, hurry and inform the general." In the Supreme Command of the Star Alliance, an emergency meeting was hastily convened. Leaders of several major factions gathered around a table, observing the footage of the original Zero Series mecha spiraling out of control on the holographic screen. After watching the video, they began to voice their opinions. Does anyone know the current status of the original Zero Series mecha? What does it mean for the Primordial Authority and the Supreme Sequence to be activated? Which queen is being referred to? Even after shutting down the StarNet system, it feels like a virus has taken hold. I've always said this antiquated mecha should have been retired long ago. At this moment, an elderly man with a wrinkled face and graying hair, seated at the head of the table, gazed nostalgically at the original Zero Series on the screen and slowly spoke. Shun Zhaoyun is the founder of the Alliance mecha. The original Zero Series was the very first mecha she developed. To express gratitude for her monumental contributions, she holds the highest activation authority over the original Zero Series. Once this authority is activated, all mechas in this series will respond accordingly. 300 years have passed, yet here I am today, still hearing the original Zero Series emit such sounds. Alas, I have aged, and so has the original Zero Series. Shun Zhaoyun, the founder of mechas? The Mecha Queen? Upon hearing the name Shun Zhaoyun, everyone present was momentarily taken aback. Shun Zhaoyun is a significant figure recorded in history textbooks. Her contributions to the Star Federation are vividly etched in everyone's memory. In the year 1022 of the Star Era, an unprecedented swarm of interstellar beasts emerged from the depths of the cosmos, constructing nests on various planets and feasting on human flesh and blood. Thus began humanity's struggle against the interstellar beasts. Despite humanity's tenacious resistance, mere mortals could not contend with the various abilities of these creatures. For a decade, humanity remained at a disadvantage. It was not until the year 1033 of the Star Era that Shun Zhaoyun unveiled the first mecha, the original Zero Series, that humanity glimpsed a ray of hope. But had she not died 300 years ago? Fate is cruel. She met her untimely demise at the age of 35 amidst the chaotic currents of time and space. Observing the expressions on the faces of those around him, the old man seemed to intuit their thoughts and chuckled softly. The original Zero Series has been in design and production for over 300 years, so a minor malfunction is entirely normal. Don't overthink it. Reassured by his words, the attendees relaxed and engaged in light-hearted conversation. One person eagerly inquired, "Old Qian, I heard you once met Shun Zhaoyun in person. What kind of person was she? Would you be so kind as to share your insights?" Another nodded in agreement, adding, "I heard that 250 years ago, you led a team to co-author the biography Shun Zhaoyun in the midst of flames and smoke. Is she truly as described in the book?" The old man's expression grew peculiar. What kind of person? Frugal and money-loving, morally ambiguous, somewhat unreliable, lazy as a salted fish with a sharp tongue. In her 30s, she would still compete with him, the youngest at the time, for snacks. When reminded to manage her image, she defiantly declared, "After my death, great scholars will elucidate my teachings." At this thought, the old man's expression grew more bitter. Yet he still donned a very official smile and recited the two-century-old adage: generous and tolerant, eager to help, discerning right from wrong, diligent and hardworking, humorous and witty. Upon hearing this, the crowd immediately stood in respect, collectively applauding. Indeed, just as it is written in the textbooks, I always said that unofficial histories are unreliable. Truly, the founder of mechas. The old man silently bowed his head. Unofficial history? Completely reliable. It was all penned anonymously by me. Meanwhile, in other corners of the Alliance, Similar incidents of the original mecha losing control were occurring in mecha clubs and repair shops. The incident of the original Zero Series mecha losing control had significant repercussions. Some were